Small businesses outside major cities are scaling faster than ever thanks to smarter marketing, lean systems and a bold shift towards strategic clarity. For more, I'm joined by Sarah Cann from Powered by Sarah Cann. Great to see you once again. What's driving the surge in regional business growth?
Yeah, well, I think actually I was in the US just a few weeks ago and was actually speaking with a few other small businesses and talking about regional businesses across the world. And there is this shift out of big cities where the cost of living is increasing and really just for many unsustainable when they do want to grow their own business and pursue some other passions. So I think that's one aspect that's fueling the growth of regional businesses, and then obviously as well the internet and the accessibility of so much software and platforms and technology that really makes it so accessible for small businesses to launch and start connecting with a local audience as well as national and global audience.
Yes, obviously, once upon a time you had to be in a CBD of a major city to be able to meet and connect. But as you say, the internet, broadband has really helped. How does shifting from that local mindset to a national one change outcomes for regional businesses?
Yeah, for sure. It really, from a local perspective, it's great, and particularly in the regional areas, to have that local community feel. And that's something else that, humans in this day and age, especially with the internet and AI and everything, and over the last 5 years with COVID and things, we are really seeing a return to people craving that human connection. So at the local level, it's great for business and building connections. But then when you're ready for more growth and revenue, then the internet really makes it possible to scale and reach that national audience with digital marketing, all sorts of platforms and technology that really make it accessible.
Yeah, let's talk about the marketing side at the moment. So what does sustainable, functional marketing actually look like today, particularly if you're a regional business?
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah, I like to call it functional marketing because it just helps people understand that there's so much going on for good marketing. And whilst there's a lot of access to all sorts of platforms, it's really important for small businesses to have their money work pretty hard for them. And so I really recommend small businesses seek some expert advice rather than kind of just winging it. And functional marketing, by that I mean, integrated marketing and communications. It's always been about integrated marketing and communications. And so really just making sure you've got that lens when it comes to your marketing, rather than just, trying one avenue or, a fad, a bit like a fad diet or something, rather than just trying the latest and greatest thing. Making sure you've got a really solid foundation with your marketing. You're making sure that you're really market oriented in your comms and brand, and then building on that, which is what I mean by functional marketing.
Yeah, Sarah, why do you see regional businesses uniquely positioned to grow authentically? Because we're hearing that word a lot these days.
It is a buzzword.
Yeah.
Authentic, I think, because with small businesses, often, not in all cases, but often with small business, the founder is often the face of the business. So that authenticity comes through because you've got that brand element, that story, that founder as the face. So there's a lot more, and if they're true to themselves, and that authenticity is going to come through. But as well, regional business, they're very connected to people and the consumers, and know their customers. So there's a lot more interaction that helps with that authenticity.
How do community and also agility translate into competitive advantages?
Yeah, well, small businesses can obviously pivot on a dime much quicker than big businesses, and there's pros and cons with that. And community as well, there's been a big shift over the last few years in building online as well as in-person community. And I think that in-person aspect is going to continue to become more and more desired. We see with events and things, people really wanting that human connection. So building that community online and offline is a great strategy for building that loyalty and customer base.
And just finally, how does your work help with these strengths, help with these strengths international scale businesses?
Yeah, sure. Well, we take a pretty holistic approach. Depending on where a business is at, we'll start with the diagnosis side from a market orientation, market research. Really make sure the messaging and branding and everything is really solid. Through to strategy, and then product development and execution. Right through to digital marketing and paid advertising, email marketing. We really do span the whole gamut of marketing and
Yeah.
comms. And to fit that budget, sometimes I work as a fractional chief marketing officer, depending on the size of the business, and
Yes.
can bring a team in where there might be a gap that needs filling, or I work with the team that a company has. So really flexible, which is what I love about being a small business.
Great. All right, Sarah, just quickly, how can people find out more?
Yeah, sure. They're welcome to reach out to me via www.sarahcann.com.
Okay, wonderful. Sarah, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.